Hello, so how are you? Like, we haven't seen each other in so long. Okay, so, I don't know why, but it's 1 a.m. and I was thinking, like, to unpack completely what happened in Estonia, when I lived in Estonia for, like, my exchange semester. And, yeah, let's just do it. Why not? I just got ready in, like, 5 minutes or less or something, like, 3, 4, I don't remember. Um, and let's just film something. I just remembered that I have a YouTube channel actually, so I can just post whatever I want. So let's just start. So why did I decide to film this? Um, I don't know actually. That's the thing. I've been talking about my time in Estonia like it's fucking trivia about myself, but it's not. It's just I lived in Estonia for an exchange semester, and I just want to talk about it. I want to be more transparent with you guys. I want to get it more out, if that makes sense. So I'm gonna do exactly that. Yeah, I would say that it was overall pretty fun. I had fun, it was cool. It's just that I'm a person, I don't know if you can tell, probably yeah, but I'm a person who is like, doesn't like to fit in a box. Like I don't like strict rules about something, I've never been used to that. My parents are great people, I love them, but they've just raised me with, we trust you and you can do what you believe is right. And so to live in a completely different families and like completely different country and all of that, it is understandable that I have different rules, but yeah, that was pretty traumatizing for me. Sorry. Well, yeah, there's that. Um, but I don't have pretty much anything to complain. Like it's just gonna be like a fun get ready with me. It's not get ready with me because I'm already ready. Like I'm not ready to go for anything. I'm just gonna go to sleep after this. But yeah, let's just film something. And we're gonna do exactly that through this diary because I don't know if you've watched that video, probably not, but 3 years ago or something, like in 2024, I filmed a video where I was saying like, oh, I'm gonna use this diary to just like update you guys on my exchange semester and all of that throughout the exchange semester, but I did not end up filming anything because what was I supposed to film? It was like kind of awkward. It was like what, like no. So I did not end up filming anything. Yeah, now I live in Germany, by the way. Just a quick life update. I'm gonna study to become a teacher for high school. That's also pretty cool. And yeah, I use this diary pretty much every day in Estonia, just kind of updating what I felt like and like what happened during that day, any day actually. And I also wrote down all the words that I learned in Estonian, like for every day. Like I was learning a few words and I was just writing them down. It's kind of cool, I love it. And at the end, because I was not pretty much learning any other words around the end of my exchange, I just used it as like what I would do, like my dates for the next few days or something like that. So that was also pretty cool. And yeah, I went from January to August. I remember in January it was minus 40 degrees or something, which was insane for me. Like it was minus 36, I think. I'm not used to that kind of temperature because I come from Sicily, and in Sicily we have like 0 degrees and that's it, like for winter. So it was kind of weird. I had to get used to rain and snow and so many other things that I'm just not used to. And there we begin with the first few pages. I'm just gonna read a couple of lines and then just kind of update you guys on those and just what I find. I'm not gonna read the whole book because it's like huge, but oh, also we have like some memories here. That's cool. We're gonna go through those as well. So at first I lived in an island, the biggest island of Estonia, that's called Saaremaa, and it's like the land of Tsar. Yeah. I was kind of upset at first, but like thinking back, I just was not ready to live in a smaller reality because of course if you pick a small country then the likelihood of you ending up in like a smaller place is very, very high. But I come from a kind of a town, like a small city in Sicily, so that also meant that I wanted to just experience something that was different. And in Zarema, I felt something that was really, really similar. So like everybody knew everybody. I was like the new person that everybody was talking about. But the difference is, in Sicily, we have had exchange students, but like every time, for example, in my town, we had new students in my school, everybody would go up to them and like be like, oh, this is my name, and like blah blah blah, like how are you, and all that. Nobody did that with me. I remember that I would spend the days just like kind of in the library, especially like lunchtime. It was dreadful because technically you're not supposed to have any class. Well, I didn't have any class, so I was just kind of there because I did not have any friends. It was pretty depressing. Yeah. But after like a couple of days, I just started meeting up some people, especially in my class. Like after my class, we started like talking and we started hanging out. It was not like fully fledged friends, and that's not something that you can expect, of course, from just a few days of a few months of just living somewhere, because I also had to leave behind so many friends that I've known for years and years in Sicily. So that was different. It was weird. I cried a lot. But yeah, here I was specifically talking about my host family. Super sweet people, loved them. We stayed together for 2 months. It was supposed to be like an emergency host family. Like I was supposed to leave as soon as possible, as soon as they found another family for me, but they could not find any family for me. So it was kind of like they put up in like the national thing that they were looking for like family as soon as possible for me, especially in Saaremaa, because like why would I move to another like city? But I actually wanted to live in like the 2 biggest cities, so Tallinn and Tartu. I did not end up living there, but I was driving like an hour every day, an hour and 20 minutes or something, to just get to Tallinn, which is the capital of Estonia, by the way, unpacked, and just drive back with the bus. And yeah, I mean, it was nice. It was definitely an experience because that literally gave me a huge insight. Like I hear so many people saying like, oh, I want to live in the countryside when I'm older, and like after that experience, now I know that like that's not something that I want to do. I'm not taking it specifically as like a bad experience, because I mean, it was not cool to live it in the moment, but looking back at it, I'm just glad that I lived it, because now I know that I don't want to live that. You know, that makes sense, right? Because now I'm living in Cologne. It's like a huge city with like so many, like 1 million people or something, I don't know. So that's cool. Yeah, funny part is that I had 2 host families, and both of them had a German in them, and now I live in Germany, so maybe that affected a few of my neurology, because like when I had to choose for a country, like so many people asked me like, why Estonia? It was like very studied. I looked so much into it. Problem is, again, it was a small country. It is still a small country, and so it meant that like info spread so quickly, like even in the capital. And like if I wanted to go out, like I would meet every single person that I know. That's not something that I'm looking forward to do specifically, but like again, everything else was amazing in Estonia. The people were a lot like very cold, just like the weather. Like they were really reserved. Like they would never allow me to just be part of their friend group. I ended up having some really amazing friendships in Estonia, but the best friendships that I would say that I had was with other exchange students. That was my favorite part about like living in Estonia, like having so many other people who were living the same experience in a way. So definitely that. Yeah, let me just read a bit more. If I would have to say like something that is my favorite part about Estonia, I would say that it's the culture. I really like, that was great because it's a completely different culture to what I'm used to. That also meant that it was kind of like stark, like the difference between my two, like the two cultures I was used to. So like Italian in general, and then Sicilian specifically. So it was different, and I loved it. You know, like I just, if it wasn't for like the people being so cold, I would have definitely like stayed there. That was actually my plan, to just live in Estonia my whole life. But then kind of my plans changed because of that, and so I ended up choosing between the Nordic countries or Germany. Germany because, or Austria. I also considered Austria actually. Then I ended up like doing a trip. Actually, you can find the video on this channel, like about my trip in Austria. Um, yeah, I think that I made the right choice. German people are kind of similar to Estonian people, just a lot more open. I don't know why everybody says that Germans are like so cold and so closed, but like they're not. Maybe it's just because I lived in another country that's just not very well known, and so they're not very well known for being closed people. But yeah, it was just a very, very big difference for me. The best part also was school system wise, because I remember that tests were like completely different. Like I was used to in Italy to just like tests that are like so stressful, and you have to like study hours for them. In Estonia, I just would get on the bus. As I told you, the bus ride was like an hour and 20 minutes to be fair, but most of the times I would just not even do the homework for like the whole time. I would just spend 20 minutes to do the homework and then get myself ready. I'm actually really tired, I don't know if you can tell. Anyway, so that was kind of different because in Italy specifically, I was studying like 6 hours a whole night. I was pulling all-nighters. I know some classmates who used to take drugs to just get on with the days and just deal with the stress of tests. Completely against that. I would rather have like a lower mark than to just drug myself for school specifically. Like if I want to do that, I'm gonna do it like for safety, like with safety and for fun. Those people were not doing it with safety, and the only purpose that they were doing it was for school, and I know that for a fact. So that was weird and different. Visiting other countries was also insanely cool because I've never, of course, been to that side of the world, that side of Europe. I'm a huge Europe fan, and so to just see not only Estonia and like all the islands and all that, because it was also amazing, but seeing Finland, like they're the two closest capitals to my knowledge to each other, I think. Then I also saw Latvia and Lithuania. I saw Latvia twice. It was amazing. I loved it. The first time I was completely sick, so I don't remember anything actually. But the second time, that was the first time ever that I had like somebody that returned their feelings with me, like in the sense that they also liked me back. But that only lasted for a couple of hours actually. Don't get me wrong, like now that I am just more balanced and more within myself, I don't struggle with that anymore. But back then it was a big struggle for me. Like I'm actually like still dealing with all the feelings that I used to feel like years and years back, to the point that right now I could cry if I continue talking about it. So I'm gonna just like completely look over this concept. Yeah, I had a lot of like change inside of me that was ready to just show up, and now it showed up. And like if I had to show myself to the person that I was like 5 years ago, that person would be so proud of themselves for just the way that I grew up to be, and that's so cool. Yeah, what was I saying? I completely forgot. Oh yeah, Finland. That was really, really complicated because not only they're so much stricter, like if you want to go to a club or a bar, like we had to change bars like 7 times or something. I also had my first kiss in Finland, by the way. I don't remember, like I just wanted to live, you know what I mean? Like especially when you live in such strict rules, you just want to live outside of them for a short time. And so in Sicily, I'm not used to this feeling, but you know the saying that like the strictest parents grow the sickest children or whatever it goes. Like, it is true because you feel limited in whatever you can do, and so you kind of like try to always push the limit. But me specifically, when I had to put my own rules growing up, it was just, yeah, I've experimented something. My mom always told me, actually still tells me, you always have to try something before you judge it. I tried it and then I judged it and I was like, okay, that's not for me. For anything. Or I try it and I'm cool with that and I continue doing that, and that's also completely fine. Just of course with good judgment, and that's also a really really great way for, in my opinion, to just grow children, because then they know that's best for them, instead of like being force fed like these sometimes lies, sometimes just, I don't know, things. So yeah, very cool. Latvia, really cool. Lithuania was also really cool. Estonian as a language was one of the most complicated tasks that I've ever had to deal with. I remember that I was like I was being so hard on myself just for not being as fast as I knew that I could have been with learning the language. I'm still really proud of myself. Like, for 6 months, getting to that specific level, I think I had like a A2 or something, B1. I'm still insanely proud of myself, but like, still, it felt like a struggle. It felt like I remember one time my math teacher told me, not me actually specifically, I got told behind my back, and then some classmates had told me that they were kind of disappointed that my Estonian was not getting better as soon as it could have been. Yeah, I mean, I would say that I could like hold conversations, like I was being good conversationally, but like, especially like at the end of my exchange. But of course the first few months I was completely dog water. So I mean, I'm not blaming myself anymore, but at that time in my life, I was blaming myself every day. Like, I would very much stress myself out for just learning more, and always just, you know, the strive for perfection. But you know what, I also, at the same time, when I was like finishing my exchange, I also realized, like, when am I ever gonna use Estonian ever again? Like, and that's why, unfortunately, I'm just kind of slowly forgetting the language, because I don't speak it. Maybe I speak it like once every, I don't know, 6 months. So I'm not just using it, and my brain is just kind of slowly forgetting it. And that's really, really sad. I wish I could remember, especially the cases. I love the cases in that language, like the grammatical cases. So cool. It's just a language that I don't, like, you cannot experience unless you have like Estonian friends, Estonian partners, or you live in Estonia, because it's not something that you just walk around and then you see an Estonian person. Because, like, for example, here in Germany, I see so many Italian people. Like, realistically, if I thought that I was forgetting Italian, I could just walk up to somebody and like say, hey, I'm also Italian, let's just speak Italian. But that's not something that you can do with smaller languages, and so that is kind of like still sad. But what can I do? What else? I wanted to tell you something. Oh yeah, I also went to art school. That was insanely cool. Yeah, that's that. Because in Italy we don't have like afternoon schools. Like, we don't have hobby schools, as far as I'm concerned. Like, there's only like sports schools, like if you want to, I don't know, like do gymnastics or sports specifically. But and we also have like music school. That's also like a really big thing. But to my knowledge, there's like, especially in my area, there's no such thing as like, I don't know, art school or singing school. Well, actually I did singing classes, but it's not a school. And actually they opened one in my city like recently, but you know what I mean, it's still like kind of like music. So there was no such thing as clubs in Italy. That's what I'm trying to say. So that's kind of sad. I'm very artistic. No, I'm not artistic, I'm creative. And in Estonia, I did not have like as much of a chance to just express that. But I did write a lot of poems because you literally need nothing for poems. You just need pen and paper or a phone or whatever and just write. And that was something that I've done. I also dyed my hair. Yeah, it was cool. I only dyed it once and like it was a big deal, so I did not do it again. But yeah, I'm just really happy with the poems that I wrote. It was like a very good time for me to just kind of spend effort into doing that. I also studied a lot of philosophy because in Estonia you don't study, like generally speaking, like I don't study a lot of philosophy in schools, and so I just studied it by myself. I thought that there was gonna be like an exam when I was going back to Italy, like to just testify the fact that I knew like the content of what they've done when I was not there, but there wasn't. So I mean, I'm completely fine with that. I'm not complaining. So I kind of like studied for nothing. But philosophy is something that I love, so I'm not gonna complain about that. By the way, I also remembered that no, I don't remember anything, sorry. Oh, I remember that I was tired all the time. And so it was kind of like a big talking point for so many people, but I just remember that I was feeling some type of way, like I was constantly tired, sad, tired. Of course, like feelings like that are not something that you remember specifically, but when you live them, you know what you mean, you know? So nobody was like kind of understanding the fact that it is normal to just be tired. I like, not in the sense that I was sleepy specifically, but like I had no energy to do like so many other things. So yeah, emotionally also I was like kind of down in a way, and that's something that like some people noticed. Maybe that's something that I had to like channel differently because I was going to like a theater school, and so we had like improv classes and like all of that, and like so many hours like a week for 7 hours or something. So that was like super amazing, and so it meant that I had to like kind of give up a bit of my energy to just give it to the characters that I was impersonating or whatever the task was. So maybe that was the reason, but also it's a completely different culture, a completely different language, completely different people, completely different family, completely different friends, completely different school system, completely different everything. And so I'm really proud of myself for just managing it, you know? I'm talking about it like I went to like, sometimes it feels like I'm talking about it like I went to like military school, but it was not. It was supposed to be like a fun experience, and it is a fun experience like looking back at it, but some moments I remember that I was really upset and really sad, and nobody was like kind of there for me to just unpack the whole situation. I remember that I contacted like a therapist. She never responded. um so I kind of had to deal with that myself. She then actually responded, and like we kind of stayed together and like in contact for like the last 2 months actually. But I really needed that time for a bit longer, like especially before. So yeah, actually the more I read in this, the more emotions I kind of like get back, because it's really like, of course you remember only the good sides most of the time, right? But living it, like I don't feel like this person was happy, you know what I mean? So I would definitely like completely advise like this kind of experience to everybody, but maybe not for like people who are not specifically like normal, like, you know what I mean? Like I had nobody who was like even the slightest bit of alternative around me, so I had no way to just like kind of vibe with somebody, if that makes sense. So like everybody was just very watered down, if that makes sense again. In Italy, in my home country, in my hometown, I have so many like people who are like me, and so we can just like, I don't know, understand each other a bit more. But in Estonia I had pretty much nobody to do that. So maybe that's the reason why I was feeling kind of like more alone, you know? But yeah, anyway, I also celebrated my 18th birthday in Estonia. That was super cool. I remember that it was a big struggle to just manage because so many people were just trying to not make me celebrate it for some reason. Like, I don't know, I got offered like so many other options, like, I don't know, just staying in a park outside. But that's not the way that in Italy like parties are just organized, especially the 18th birthday. Like, that's such a huge thing. Like, I've seen like horses are going around and like fireworks and all of that, and just I wanted a smaller version of that because, like, you know what I mean. But yeah, I just wanted to celebrate it and have fun. But there were a lot of like struggles in between, I remember. So I also got a tattoo like one day before my birthday. That was super cool. Just because of the date. I actually got it covered, like completely changed. It's this tattoo. I don't know if you saw it. Used to be like so ugly, like the lines were just off. I thought that when the person who did the tattoo like put the stencil on, that was just gonna be like a kind of like a guideline, because that was the design that I made. And I thought that that was gonna be like just the guideline to just like work from that, but it wasn't. It ended up being like the final tattoo. So I just kind of had that one for like a year, and it was kind of embarrassing actually. Like when people just kind of saw something behind my neck and they were like, what is this? It was embarrassing. So I'm really, really glad that I now have this. Like, probably this is my favorite tattoo that I have ever. Like the one that I just showed you. If you could see it, I don't know. So yeah, cool. And also like kind of like a reminder of my situation. Like so many so many things. Like I was feeling so alone because so many things that I was doing were just alone. Like for example, I was going to the supermarket. I love going to the supermarket. I don't know why. Maybe that's where it all began, because I was just trying to see what was different, and like I would always try something new. But yeah, I would go to the supermarket, like spend hours in there. What else would I do? Oh yeah, I would explore so many places. But again, I had like a curfew, which again was something that I was not used to because rules. And so I could not explore as much as I wanted to. I was at school, I could not skip school to just like explore something, of course. So all in all, I spent so much time alone, just like in my room and like writing poems or something, that maybe that's why I was feeling some type of way, because it was just no juggling back and forth, just juggling with my head only, if that makes sense. By reading, I just realized that I had my first ever panic attack in front of somebody in Estonia. That was awful. Because usually when I have a panic attack and like alone, I just deal it with myself. You know what I mean? Like just kind of hyperventilate and calm myself down after a specific amount of time, just alone, and that's the best way for me. But living it with somebody, like hearing it and like seeing it, that was the worst ever. Like it was thankfully like I think the only time that it ever happened. But yeah, I just I don't even know if I want to talk about it more than that. Yeah, the best person that I probably met during my whole exchange was probably actually my host brother. It was we were vibing off of each other so much, and that was great. I just could not have wished for a better person. We were having so many cool conversations, and even though he was younger, you could tell that like he was very mature, and I just loved spending time with him. Yeah, anyway, now we're gonna just look through all the trinkets that I put in here. Starting off with this, it's a note from my mom. She hid this inside of my luggage, and it was like call me when you can, and like love you and all of that. It was really, really emotional for me. It was probably the first time ever that I was apart from my mom for longer than like 3 days. So that was super cool, to just see that she cared so much, so that she wrote something. I don't know. I'm really, really like struck. Oh my god, I'm gonna cry. So let's just talk about something else. This was a piece of a map that I collected of Saaremaa. I got it on the on the ferry there. Well, how do I show it? Sit up. Okay. This is very flimsy, of course, but this is the map. And then we have me making a note for like inviting people. This I remember. This was also like a Valentine's Day thing. Valentine's Day is, I think, like the 14th of February. So it meant that I was only there like for a month and like a week, or 2 weeks or something. A week, actually. So yeah, nobody wrote me any notes. Like this was something that this specific calligraphy was something that they wrote for everybody, so that everybody could say like, oh, you got like a ticket from like somebody who loves you, but they just send it to everybody, so does that even matter? Like, it was super sweet. Like, I remember that it was like, oh, hope you're having a great time in Estonia, but like, yeah. Then we have this like theater thing. I remember I went there. Was it with the school or something? I don't remember. Then we have a jacket, like the beleg, like the kvittung, the receipt of me like buying a jacket. I'm not gonna show it for some reason. Then we have a cake. I don't know why, but a friend of mine made a list of like all the foods that I had to try in Estonia, and this specific cake was one of them, and so I just remember that. This was a ticket that I got at a museum. I really, really like the museum. I love museums in general, like every single museum. Then this was a ticket that we got in an island. This was an island that was like so small that you could like cycle around it with your bicycle. It was super cool. We spent like a few days because it's like such a small island. Super cool. Super natural, like sporty. And I'm not specifically like a sporty person, but I really, really enjoyed that. And then we have flower petal. Don't remember from which flowers actually. I think from the ones for my birthday. This is also for my birthday. It's like a triangle. Like, no, Josh Hutterson, what's his name? As a cube, I think. But it was pretty squashed, and so I decided to put it in here. And that's it. And last but not least, we have my poems somewhere. I'm not gonna read them, I think, but I just kind of wanna see if I can talk about something that I remember. So let's see. Oh yeah, I also remember that well, while reading the poems, that there was a time that I just spent, like, I remember I got told like do not make so much of a mess, and so, or something like that, and so that was not something that I was planning, because I spent those days like just crying. I think I cried like 7 times a day. It was awful. And we have really, 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 really sad poems. I remember that I sent a few of them to my friends, and they told me, you should go get some therapy right now. It's about like stop thinking, and so like becoming a corpse. And it's really, really deep and like sad. I remember this one about a comma of happiness entering my stream of thought, and that's not their place, and so it's kind of like ostracized. Yeah. I also found this, maybe I'm gonna read this actually because it's really short. It's called Torment, and it goes like this. I am rain, too cold, but not enough to fall as snow. But like, that's how I felt the whole time. I was too much and too little at the same time. That's how I felt the whole time. So, then I wrote something about my crosses, and that was probably my favorite poem that I ever wrote in Estonia. Pretty long, actually. I also spent like so much of bus time to go back to go back home to just like kind of review all the poems that I wrote, maybe like modify a comma, because like even a comma changes so much about a poem, so that's something that I love about it. And on the 4th of June, we have my first ever poem that is just like that was born in Estonian, because sometimes I translated poems in Estonian to also get better at Estonian, but we have our first one. And then, oh wow, this is really deep as well. I think I'm gonna read this. It's called Nightmare. I translated it in like 3 languages, and it goes like this. Everybody around me goes so fast, and I go so slow, so slow. SOSLOW. I fell down, distracted. You weren't fast enough. And it's like, it has like this kind of structure, because it's like we're falling as well while reading it. Yeah, I think that's it for the video. So I think this is gonna be very long, and that's something that is so personal, so I understand if like not so many people were tuning in, but I really needed this. I wanted to just like get connected with this tonight, and I decided to film it. And yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed if you made it by the end of the video, and we'll see each other hopefully sooner, actually, because I have some video ideas in mind. So have fun. Love you guys.